Cairo, 1923. In a dimly lit hotel room, Lord Carnarvon lies feverish, barely conscious. A mosquito bite on his cheek has turned black. The infection spreads fast. He gasps, then stills. At that exact moment, the city plunges into darkness. Thousands of miles away in the English countryside, his dog lets out a blood-curdling howl and drops dead. People called it coincidence, but the newspapers called it something else: the curse of the Pharaohs. In 1922, an archaeologist whispered the words, "Yes, wonderful things." He had just broken into the sealed tomb of a boy king, untouched for over 3,000 years. But as treasures emerged into the light, so did something else. A string of strange, untimely deaths. Coincidence? Or something ancient and deadly? This is the story of Tutankhamun's tomb and the legendary curse of the Pharaohs. Tutankhamun, just a boy when he took Egypt's throne. His reign lasted less than a decade, yet today he's the most famous pharaoh of them all. Why? Because his tomb was found almost entirely intact. No looters, no missing artifacts, only silence, darkness, and riches beyond imagination. A snapshot of ancient Egypt frozen in time. By the early 20th century, most tombs in the Valley of the Kings had been found. Egyptologists believed the valley had given up all its secrets, but Howard Carter wasn't convinced. He believed one final tomb, Tutankhamun's, was still waiting. Backed by Lord Carnarvon, Carter searched for 5 years. By 1922, Carnarvon was ready to pull the plug. Then, in November, Carter's team found a step carved into the rock. They had found it. A sealed doorway with the royal stamp of Tutankhamun. As Carter peered inside by candlelight, Carnarvon asked, "Can you see anything?" Carter replied, "Yes, wonderful things." Inside they found golden statues, chariots, jewelry, perfumes, food offerings, and even the young pharaoh's body. A discovery beyond their wildest dreams. But with it came a dark whisper. Just months later, on April 5th, 1923, Lord Carnarvon was dead. A mosquito bite on his cheek became infected, leading to blood poisoning. On the night he died, Cairo experienced a total blackout. Back in England, his dog Susie reportedly let out a howl and died. The press went wild. "Pharaoh's curse strikes," screamed the headlines. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, creator of Sherlock Holmes, claimed elementals placed in the tomb caused Carnarvon's death. Soon, anyone even remotely connected to the tomb became a target of the curse. Here are just a few of the so-called victims. George J. Gould, a wealthy visitor to the tomb, died of a fever shortly after. One of the first prominent non-archaeologists linked to the curse. Hugh Evelyn White, an archaeologist, took his own life, allegedly leaving a note saying he'd been cursed. Arthur Mace, part of Carter's team, died of arsenic poisoning. Sir Archibald Douglas Reed, who X-rayed the mummy, died mysteriously. Aubrey Herbert, Carnarvon's half-brother, went blind and died soon after. In total, at least 11 people connected to the excavation died within a decade. But hold on, let's look at the facts. Howard Carter, the man who opened the tomb, lived until 1939, 17 years after the discovery. Lady Evelyn, Carnarvon's daughter, who was present at the tomb's opening, she lived to 78. And of the 58 people who were present when the tomb was unsealed, only 8 died within 12 years. The average lifespan of those involved? Longer than average for the time. So, if not a curse, what then? One scientific theory is exposure to ancient molds and bacteria sealed in tombs for millennia. Spores like Aspergillus niger or Stachybotrys chartarum could cause severe lung infections. Another theory? Arsenic-based pigments used on artifacts and tomb walls may have released toxins, but there's no conclusive evidence. And if the tomb was deadly, why didn't more people die? The Egyptians did believe in spiritual protection. Some tombs bear warnings. Death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the pharaoh. But no such curse was found in Tutankhamun's tomb. The myth likely comes more from our own fascination with forbidden knowledge and the thrill of danger. From 1930s horror films to The Mummy, the idea of a vengeful ancient spirit still sells. The curse has become part of modern mythology, retold in books, movies, and conspiracy theories. It taps into something deep, fear of the unknown, and the idea that some things aren't meant to be uncovered. So, did the curse of the Pharaohs really kill people? Probably not. But the legend lives on, not because it's true, but because it's timeless. It's a story about wonder, danger, and what happens when we disturb the dead. And sometimes, the most powerful curses are the ones we create ourselves. We like to think we've outgrown superstition, that in the age of science and reason, the idea of curses belongs to ancient worlds and old books. But we still believe. Maybe not in pharaohs calling down death from beyond the grave, but in our own way, we still talk about curses. In sports, we whisper about the curse of the Bambino, or how a team hasn't won since some unlucky event decades ago. In pop culture, we joke about the curse of child stars or say someone's jinxed. In families, we speak about bad luck running in the blood, or generations doomed to repeat the same tragedies. It's part of how we explain the unexplainable. It gives shape to chaos. And the curse of the pharaohs? It taps into that same ancient fear that some things shouldn't be touched, that disturbing what's meant to stay buried comes at a price. Maybe that's why the story won't die. In the end, there may be no deadly mold, no mystical wrath, no ancient curse written in stone. But that doesn't mean the tomb was powerless. It sparked obsession. It haunted headlines. It made rational men wonder, and irrational minds fear. It blurred the line between science and story, and that's the real power of a good curse. It doesn't need to be true. It just needs to be believed. Maybe the tomb never killed anyone at all. Maybe it just whispered a legend. And we've been hearing echoes of it ever since. If you made it this far, thank you. I appreciate you joining me on this strange and haunting journey into the tomb of Tutankhamun and the legend it left behind. History is full of stories that blur the line between fact and myth, and sometimes the truth is hidden in the space between. If you enjoyed this deep dive, feel free to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe for more stories where mystery meets history. Until next time, stay curious.